guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hope you are all okay. Today I am bringing you something really short and sweet, just a couple of really cute, yummy snack recipes, all high protein, all relatively tasty. Don't get me wrong, they don't taste like a Krispy Kreme donut, my favourite, but they are 100% worth it, worth the macros, worth the time. They're super quick, super easy, hardly any ingredients. So they are really, really great for you, and I'm telling you, you're gonna love. Majority of them, we are making 3 delicious snacks, and I will explain everything in the video as I'm talking. But yeah, let's get straight into it, guys. So I started with some protein donuts. Now these are actually a lot nicer than I anticipated they were going to be. So you need some vanilla whey, you need flour. I used oat flour, so I actually just blended my oats together, some salt, baking powder, sweetener, some water, fat-free yogurt and vanilla essence, and that is just to make essentially the main bit of the donut, like the dough, I suppose, if that's what you're going to call it. So I literally placed all of the dry ingredients into the bowl first. As you can see, I blended my oats. All of it popped straight into there before I then mixed it all together with the wet ingredients. I did actually mix all of these together a little bit once I'd placed all of the bits and bobs in there. And then I obviously mixed in the wet ingredients after, as I said. One thing that I just want to say is, you don't have to have a protein donut if you don't want a protein donut. You can have a normal donut if you want to. The one thing about some of these recipes is that they are slightly lower in calories. They are higher in protein most of the time, which just allows it to be easier for you to fit them in, or you can have more. But that doesn't mean you can't have a normal standard donut. Guys, I am obsessed with Krispy Kreme donuts, and I would probably eat them if I could every single day. I don't eat them every day because I don't want to get bored of them, but I could eat them every single day. Because utilizing flexible dieting allows you to fit the foods in that you love, whilst allowing you to keep them within your calorie and macro goals. So essentially, I can eat what I want as long as it fits into my calories and still achieve the goals that I want to achieve. Now, isn't that amazing, right? Now back onto the recipe. So I'm going to use a little bit of Fry Light spray into these little donut containers, and I did actually end up spooning the mixture into the containers because it was a little bit difficult to use. I should have said before, I did also preheat my oven before I started to around gas mark 6, and then I kept them in the oven for around 12 to 16 minutes, just depending on how quickly they cooked. Now for the icing on the top, I just used some low-fat cream cheese, some sweetener, some vanilla protein, and then some sprinkles or whatever toppings it is you would like to do. Now obviously you don't use all of this, you use, if anything, probably a third of it, but it's definitely nice to mix it all together properly before you pop it onto the top of the donut. Now there are loads of things you can add on as toppings. I just decided to do this because it was simple and easy and the most donut-like, I would say, but I do love a bit of Biscoff, potentially Nutella on the top. So with this cream cheese, I just took the donut, don't know why I didn't take that one, popped it on to the mixture. I just kind of glazed it over the top and then printed it a little bit to try and get as much on there as possible, and I very delicately just dabbed on the hundreds and thousands at the top. I think they look pretty cute if you ask me. Now the best thing about them is they were really fluffy, they weren't chewy, and they tasted so good. Now onto some cookie dough, ladies and gentlemen. This is Matthew's favourite out of all of these recipes. So again, using some protein powder, some peanut butter powder. I'm sure you can probably use just standard peanut butter as well. 25 grams of oats as flour, so oat flour, 3 grams of sweetener, maple syrup. I used a sugar-free version or a lower sugar version, some almond milk, and then some chocolate chips. I didn't weigh out the chocolate chips, I kind of just guessed and chucked both white chocolate and standard milk chocolate in together. I haven't actually mixed it up before, but milk chocolate and white chocolate together is just so good, so I thought, why not try? As usual, I'm popping all of the dry mixture in together first. I did actually have to have my scales for this one. Then topped it with the sugar-free or low sugar maple syrup. This one is really, really nice, but it has got a very strong maple flavour. Not that that's a problem, but it is very, very strong. With the almond milk, you want to add it in very slowly and keep mixing together. So I tried this recipe a couple of weeks ago, and I found that I added the almond milk too quickly, and then the consistency was very, very gloopy. Matt actually really liked it like that anyway, so I'm sure it's not the end of the world. The taste is still the same, but I definitely thought it was much nicer with a thicker, more cookie dough-like consistency. As you can see, like this, it looks absolutely delish even right now. One reason for using the oat flour is because I don't actually cook it. It's something that you just put straight into the fridge just to set for a couple of hours. So using an oat flour rather than a standard flour is a little bit better and a little bit safer for you, because they do say that normal flour is a little bit risky to have raw, essentially. So this is what it looked like before it went into the fridge, and then around 5 hours later I took it out the fridge. It was definitely a darker consistency than last time, and I definitely noticed that I hadn't blended the oats as thin as I had before, but it doesn't matter, it still came out really delicious. This was Matt obviously enjoying it, and I have muted the video, but in it he says, oh my gosh, so good. He completely loves this, and the macros on it are so easy. It is very peanut buttery, so I'm sure there is definitely a different way of making it if you don't particularly love the peanut butter flavouring, but it is a really great consistency, really nice texture, and a definitely lush treat to have at night. Now for those that love cinnamony carrot cake, this one is for you. So you needed some eggs, egg whites, some sugar-free syrup again, low-fat Greek yogurt, protein powder, flour, again I used oats, so blended oats, some cinnamon and some shredded carrots. Now with the cinnamon I just kind of was adding it as and when I felt like I needed to. That was just me adding it in as an extra because I love cinnamon so much, and to be honest it was really, really tasty, so I'm very, very glad that I did add it in. So I added all of the dry mixtures, again, into a bowl. As you can see, I just keep adding cinnamon in as I go along. It's absolutely hilarious. I just keep adding it, and adding it. But it does come out really, really tasty. So I definitely think it was worth it in the long run. So I then add all of these bits together, and I then add the eggs in after. So after all of these little bits and bobs, I did actually decide to add some baking powder in halfway through because I thought, oh, maybe it would help it rise a little bit. So then I mixed all of these bits together and added the wet ingredients as I have done previously. Now, the one thing that's really, really great about all of these recipes is they do have a higher protein content, which is amazing. Now, whether your goal is to lose weight or to gain weight, protein is super, super important. Having a diet that is relatively high in protein is really good because protein is really satiating, which basically means it keeps us fuller for longer. Another reason that protein is super good is because it is the most thermogenic. Now what that means in short run is basically that we burn the most calories through digestion and processing of the foods through our bodies when eating protein. And not only that, we all know that protein is so good for muscle growth and muscle repair. So definitely make sure you are eating enough protein every single day. So I popped this into the oven for around 20 minutes at around gas mark 6-7, and then I just topped it with the leftover mixture I had from the donuts. So the cream cheese, the sweetener, and the protein powder, and it was so delicious. Now this looked so tasty and tasted just as good as it looked. Again, the consistency was really, really fluffy, really, really easy to eat, and not at all sticky and proteiny at all. I feel like these just make me look like a really good baker, which when I was younger, I was absolutely terrible. I remember I used to burn every single cake that I attempted to make. Hope you enjoyed all the recipes, and if you have any questions at all, any requests, let me know and I will get onto that as soon as I possibly can. Thank you so much for supporting my channel as per usual, and I will speak to you all very, very soon.